Lauren Smith as we are getting set for individual event number 4, heat number 3. 400-meter row, 90-foot handstand walk, 600, 120, 800-meter row, and a 72-foot straight shot down the competition floor. Before that time is called. Lucy Campbell, what are your go-ruck steps to success?
Number 1, it is all in the row, and number 2, keep the pace. So this is going to be a race amongst the best handstand walkers of who can row the fastest and not jeopardize that handstand walk pace.
We've seen some incredible performances in the first 2 heats. Before we get there, let's go down to Lauren Smith.
Cheers, guys. So I saw the advice of Concept 2's world indoor rowing champion, Anna Mueller, and she was saying if you are in any way uncertain about your handstand walks, you can afford to be a little bit more conservative. If you don't row a 2 and you row a 2:05 split, then you'll lose only 10 seconds, and the benefit of that is immeasurable when it comes to your heart rate and your breathing when you attack the handstand walks.
Your lane assignments for heat number 3. A couple of athletes to look out for. Good on their hands, but very close to a qualifying position. First and foremost, Andrea Solberg in lane number 6 is only 9 points out of a qualifying spot.
Yeah, and she is very fast on her hands, so she would definitely be one to watch. She is someone that can absolutely afford to try and push that row pace and really ride the line here.
But another athlete who had a great start to the weekend, that's Ella Wilkinson, sitting in lane number 3.
Yeah, another one that's going to be really good here. She's really looking forward to this event. I have reliable sources telling me that she is one to watch. She's been pretty much upside down since she was 4 years old.
Stand by.
Heat number 3 underway, all chasing the time set by Turi Helgadottir at 8:59.65. Win a CrossFit World Tour, visiting CrossFit gyms around the globe. Create an account, scan the QR code, or visit hustleup-app.com to enter. That's all it takes. Drawing will take place on June 20th, 2024. Heat 3, 10 women on the competition floor. And the man behind this rowing handstand walk, Mr. Adrian Bosman, back in the booth. I love the push-pull combo we have here with the row and the handstand walk, but man, we thought it was going to be fast. I didn't think it was going to be that fast, what we saw in heat number 2 at 30.
Oh, yeah, faster than you want it to be. That's the whole point here. It's who can hang on and display this skill under pressure. We saw it with the teams on the first day. You know, you've got this short handstand walk that on paper doesn't look like it's going to be a huge factor, but the question is who can maintain that composure when they get their fatigue and the pressure's on. So that's what this event is all about for the individuals.
Starting off with that 400-meter row, and then we'll go into that first handstand walk distance. Now, every round, the row is going to increase. The handstand walk will as well on the first 2 rounds. So 96-foot handstand walk. It's going to be 48 out and back on the first one. And Lucy, we saw in the first 2 heats, some athletes absolutely flying because they had the ability to.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, as we go through this event, the handstand walk will come more and more into play. So we see here almost all the athletes are getting off that rower within, 5 seconds of each other. And this handstand walk as well, we'll start to see the separation. As they get back
Look
on the
at that. In lane number 6, Andrea Solberg.
What?
Just a touch and go on the turnaround.
Just flying, so impressive. Look at that, the whole body behind the action, kicking the legs in sync with the arms. So impressive.
And this is absolutely why she was one to watch.
Oh, goosebumps down my arms. Ella Wilkinson is just behind her. And Lucy, you've called them off the bat. The 2 athletes to watch for are definitely making a statement here on the first round.
And this is absolutely one of the reasons, these 2 athletes, they are both on that kind of bubble. They could both make some big moves today. We've got 3 events. So it'll be really good to have them almost side by side being able to push each other, knowing that both of them are capable of getting the top score here.
And Andrea Solberg on the right side of your screen. She's currently sitting in 12th overall, 9 points out of a qualifying position. Now remember, we still have a total heat left to go, and that's your top 10 athletes after 3 events. Boz, we usually leave Saturday as moving day, but the way the events are formatted this year is that Sunday is a big moving day.
Absolutely. We've got fully 50% of all the available points available today. So athletes need to bring it. They got to bring their A game from start to finish all day today if they want to get one of those qualifying spots.
Lucy, with this combination of rowing and handstand walks and thinking about you can manipulate your row at times of what body part you're going to predominantly use. Am I going to drive with my hips and legs or pull more with my arms? And depending if it's going to a squat over overhead, what would you do, or at least coach these athletes to do of basically how to approach these rows physically?
Yeah, on this, you definitely want to be almost separating like upper and lower body. So the handstand walk, you have no choice but to use the upper body. You're really thinking about shrugging your shoulders, pushing through the floor. You want to be as tight as possible through your upper body and let your legs flip over and pull you along. On the row, it's the opposite. You want to absolutely, as with most of the occasions on the rower, you really want to be thinking about driving with the legs and using that as much as possible, knowing that your legs will get a rest to an extent on that handstand walk.
Andrea Solberg in the front part of your screen, currently in 12th. As we said, 9 points out. Elena Caratala, she'll be in the, she's in this heat. She's just next to her in lane number 5 as Linda Kishman is holding on to that 10th and final spot. 10 game spots up for grabs today. 300 total points, as Boz was saying, as we are just halfway through the competition here as Andrea Solberg is finishing her last 100 meters on the 600-meter row. She has a 120-foot handstand walk now waiting. They did 4 sections down and back, and now we're moving it to 5. But Ella Wilkinson is off the rower first, but here comes Andrea Solberg.
This is exactly the kind of race you want to see on this event. Now, coming in before semifinal full details were released, there was a lot of speculation about what kind of handstand walk we were going to see. Now, of course, I knew that it was going to be just a straight shot, and this is why. We want to see these athletes come out and race. Who's got the guts to push the pace all the way through? That's what this event is all about.
The time to beat is set by Thuri Helgadottir at 8:59.65. After this handstand walk, she was at 5:23. We are just past the 5-minute mark, and Solberg is 20 seconds ahead of the best time we've seen so far.
And the thing about this event is that it's not just about can you handstand walk this distance. Now it's 100%. Can you handstand walk this distance consistently very fast?
But now we look at the speed at which Andrea is going, as well as Ella. And if you have the handstand walk capability, this 800-meter row is so vital because you're only separated by seconds on the handstand walk, and now we have that total 800 to get to.
Absolutely, and that last handstand walk, don't forget, it's the shortest of the 3. So again, we're working our way down the field each round, but there's no back on the final round. So it's very short. There's not a lot of time to make up if you're coming off the row or a little behind your competitors.
And the interesting thing to that too, Boz, is that it's shorter in total distance, but it's the longest single stretch they have to do.
Correct, yeah. So a little bit of a psychological game there too, but really, in my opinion, it's going to come down to who can empty the tank on that 800 to put themselves in a good position to finish strong on the handstand walk.
Just past the 6-minute mark, clocks in the upper left part of your screen. Ella Wilkinson trying to keep pace on Andrea Solberg. And what we've seen, this is also the interesting thing. The rows are increasing by 200 meters each time, which is about, depending on the timing that you have, almost more time than they're gaining on the handstand walks. Ella has actually had a faster row than Andrea and only been about a second or 2 behind her on the handstand walk. So Ella could actually take advantage of the distance on this row and maybe get her just enough time because, Boz, as you said, it is the shortest handstand walk they have. So this 800-meter row is not to be overlooked as far as vital importance to your success.
Absolutely. I think Solberg is going to have to really make a move here if she wants to come off with enough time to catch Ella on that handstand walk.
Yeah, because this is the thing. We're seeing from the last row that Andrea did to this row that Ella's doing, those 2 paces. Andrea was at a 157, Ella's sitting there at a 152. That 5-second difference will be an 8-second difference coming off of that row, and that can be massive when we come on to the handstand walk. As Boz said, it is the shortest one. We've seen that Andrea's handstand walk pace is significantly quicker than Ella's, even though Ella is still super fast. So it's going to be a really tight race here to see if Andrea can pull back on that row pace.
7:30. Ella Wilkinson on the left. Andrea Solberg on the right. Solberg sitting in 10th place, 9 points out of a qualifying position.
I gotta say, I like Ella's position a lot better here. She's looking composed and relaxed, while Solberg is starting to look a little labored. Body posture starting to tighten up a little bit.
And Lucy, really for Andrea is like pulling heavily with her arms, it seems.
Yeah, and to be fair to her, she might be able to afford to because that handstand walk is so good, but it'll be interesting to see if the more she relies on the upper body, the more it impacts this handstand walk.
Hand in the air for both judges past the 8-minute mark. Turi Helgadottir was off the rower at 8:35 at this point, so the last handstand walk only took her 24 seconds, but Andrea Solberg is off first. Solberg, hands on the ground, racing across the floor. 8:59 a time to beat. That will not stand if Solberg can just keep her pace, and it looks like she can. Andrea Solberg trying to make it back to the CrossFit Games for live competition for the first time since 2020 as Andrea Solberg one step away, 8:35.
Wow.
That is insanely fast.
Ella Wilkinson just behind her, also underneath the time to beat. 8:45 unofficially for Ella Wilkinson. Lane number 4, Elisa Fuliano, trying to make it back to the games for the 3rd time in a row. Elisa currently sitting in 13th place. She's just a handful of points out of 10. Connie Easby, right at the 9-minute mark, handstand race across the finish line. Who's going to get to the starting mat first? Manon Agonese trying to keep pace with Miriam Van Roer. And these times are so close together and jam-packed. We still have a whole nother heat to go.
Yeah, and you have to think, after seeing a few heats of this, what changes in the strategy for those still waiting in the wings? You know, do they stick with what they've originally planned, or after seeing some of these times come across, are they starting to think, all right, I got to make a move here that's a little different than what I had planned originally?
Sylvia Izquierdo, she'll get it underneath that 10-minute cap. Mika Larson as only one athlete is left on the floor, and that was the athlete that was closest to a qualifying position, and that is Elena Karatala. She was sitting in 11th place, only 3 points out of 10th. Hand in the air, that means she has 100 meters left to go on the rower. $13-minute cap for this event, event number 4. We have 3 events today. 300 points up for grabs. As you can see, Linda Kishman is holding on to that coveted 10th and final spot to the CrossFit Games. So we have a lot of action to determine what that's going to be at the end. But Karatala, who, as you can just see, is that the handstand walk is the one movement that is holding her back in this event.
Yeah, and only 3 points out of contention coming into this event. I mean, this is going to put her back quite a bit in the standings, so she's going to have a fight on her hands for the next 2 events.
And Boz, different than most Sundays where there's maybe 2 events, there's still an opportunity.
Absolutely, lots of opportunity, but also lots of opportunity in the opposite direction to lose that lead that you may have had, or to broaden the gap between you and a qualifying position.
A shaky start, but a strong finish for Elena Karatala, but Andrea Solberg just blasted the doors off this 8:36.06. The new time to beat, but 8:45.904. We've got about 10 or 12 times all within 20 seconds of each other.
Yeah, so we saw Andrea with that unbelievable handstand pace in round 1 with that touch and go turnaround. And then obviously Ella came off the rower first, but it wasn't really an issue for Andrea to chase her down on the handstand walk.
So fast, so impressive.
Which left her all on the row pace on that 800 meters. Obviously we said that that was the biggest chunk of time, but Andrea managed to hold on and was back on that blazing handstand walk